an idol.
What is idolatry? You have to go and study what is idolatry.
Deception going on, and this deception is subtle, very subtle. What are you doing with prayer show as a believer, as a Christian? What?
Instead of holding your phones when you pray, hold this one so that you'll not be distracted. Hold it. And number two, those who stay with me know this. If you see me on the toilet, you do not disturb me because you know I'm praying.
You are condemning people that pray to Virgin Mary. You say they are doing idolatry, but you cannot pray without using candle or Goya olive oil. You must pray to the God of a commission. You even use prayer SHAWL to pray. All these things, are they not all idolatry? Let me tell you in very simple terms what idolatry is. Idolatry is replacing the simple faith you should have in Christ with anything else. That thing can be prayer SHAWL, it can be praying to an image, it can be Goya oil, it can be anything. Whatever replaces Christ, your faith should be in Christ only. Christ alone, Christus alone, sola Christus. Anything that takes away your focus from Christ is idolatry, whether they are signs, symbols, or material. You see that Jesus picture you have in your church, later go and remove that idolatry. Is Christ not enough? Why are you adding something to Christ? When did we start using prayer SHAWL and suffer? When did we start blowing Jewish horn in our meetings? When did we start this recent trend of the talit? Anyone who tells you that God instructed him to use those Jewish objects is lying. God cannot contradict his word as seen in the scriptures. The old covenant and its practices has been made obsolete and has vanished away. This is because the old covenant was a shadow and the reality is here in Christ. Anyone who is reintroducing Jewish practices to the church is either ignorant or deliberately going anti-scriptures. To be anti-scriptures is to be anti-Christ. I want to beg all the prophets in Nigeria, Africa and beyond to desist from this anti-Christ practice. We can't claim that we are saved and yet returning to the Jewish practice of the law. Galatians 3:1-5. Paul asked the church in Galatia, hey, who has bewitched you? Returning to a Jewish practice of the law after receiving faith in Christ is bewitchment. Anybody wearing or using the prayer SHAWL and sofa, the talit, the Jewish ram horn is bewitched. And any pastor who uses the prayer SHAWL, all these Jewish items, is bewitched. And if he's encouraging the members to use it, he's bewitching the members, and they are all falling from grace. Galatians 5:4. Christ is become of no effect unto you. Whosoever of you are justified by the law, ye are falling from grace. This is Paul talking to the Galatian church, that if they return to the Jewish practice of the law, it means they have fallen from grace. If you have been saved by grace, what are you doing with old covenant practices of the law? Are you in Judaism? Those objects and practices are purely Judaism. They have no place in the faith we profess as Christians. Most of the people wearing this prayer SHAWL, some are not even born again in the first place. How can someone who does not understand the concept of salvation be born again? It is very unfortunate that people who are supposed to be in a local assembly learning the difference between the old covenant and the new covenant are busy answering prophet and apostle. People that cannot explain simple concepts like salvation, justification by faith, redemption. They are already parading themselves as apostles, prophets, custodians of hidden mysteries. Which mysteries? I don't actually know why the church elders are keeping quiet, seeing practices like this getting more popular day by day. Everybody's wearing prayer SHAWL. I know if Paul the apostle was to be here, he would have written an episode against this false practice. He would have brought up a teaching against those apostles and prophets who crept into the church unknowingly to enslave the brethren with the law of Moses. Jude 1:3 instructed us to earnestly contend for the faith that was delivered to us. How do you contend for the faith? It is by speaking up against every antichrist practice. I have contended for the faith by putting this message out and correcting this false practice and anomaly.
They will always blame the Catholic Church. And let me be clear, I am from a Catholic background. And Pentecostals or charismatic used to say that the Catholic Church worship idols like Mary and all the statues in the church, even though the Catholic will explain that those were just symbols. But that did not save the Catholics from critique. The Pentecostals or the charismatics have turned around and are now doing far more than the Catholics ever did. Did you know the number of items Jeremiah Omoto, just him alone, have sold in his church? Or is it the handkerchief or apron that Lazarus Moka is selling in the Lost Chosen? Or is it the oil that I think Oyedepo is selling? Give me a break, please. Or this other one, Idimoje with his parables. Come on. Everyone knows by now that this whole Christianity thing is a laughing joke in Africa. No one takes them seriously anymore. And they brought this upon themselves. I have always said, when you see evil going on, say something. Say something. If you see people doing things that you thought were wrong, speak out. Speak out. And I see some people in the comment section of our channel telling me to mind my own business, and that how does it concern me? That people are giving their money, people are going to church. How is that my concern? And I'm like, do you know how we found ourselves here? Have you ever given this some thought? Have you? Do you know why we cannot criticize our politicians anymore? Because when all this started, we kept quiet. When they came after our neighbors, we didn't do anything. None of us spoke out. And when they were done with torturing our neighbors, they came for us. And there was no one to speak for us. There wasn't anybody to speak on our behalf. And that is why we all can't say a single thing now. Because we have been all broken. That is it. The politicians are now running wild and we can't say anything. So it's the same thing in the Christendom. If we allow these so-called preachers to do whatever they want to do without any accountability, if we allow them to do things with impunity, a day will come when we shall be unable to say anything against them. And that day is gradually coming. Because right now, if you talk anything against them, they send the police after you. So I believe that day is gradually coming when it will be a crime to criticize them. That day is gradually coming. You see men of God like Paul Enoche using the police against people because they said things he doesn't like. Or Papa Enoch Adeboye sending the police after someone because they said stuff he doesn't like. Or Johnson Suleimanu using the police against someone because they said things that rub on his body the wrong way. And so they used the police against them. You see? So listen, I am overjoyed to have came across the videos of our brother here who has gone all out on Joel, the Pastor Joel or Prophet Joel, for promoting idol worshiping. I am so happy for that. And I hope that many more preachers will come out and start talking against things like this. When people talk against things like this, changes come. Because I can remember when Dr. Ebed Damina talked against crutches and wheelchairs that was a popular thing in the Dunamis church, Paul Enoche kind of like back off a little. He did. Now we don't see him with crutches and wheelchairs. And that only came to be because someone spoke out against it. So you too must do the same. When you see something going wrong, say something.